Hi everybody, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you're notified of any time we put new videos up. We've got obviously interviews going up daily, but sometimes 2-3 times a day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them because we've got some awesome guests coming up, including today's guest. So make sure you hit that bell icon notification. As I said, today's guest is awesome. He played 296 times for the club, 8 years in total. He appears in 15% of the Hammers 11s we've had so far. That ain't bad. It's Tim Breacker. Hi Tim, how you doing, man?
Oh, Rush, yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Very good.
How's I know it's the same question everyone always asks. How's lockdown treating you?
Been very lucky, actually. I mean, the sun's been shining, got a garden, got a couple of dogs, got a bike. So what more could you want, you know? Some old football games on telly to watch that are great. So yeah, I shouldn't complain at all. All family, all well. So yeah, you can't ask for no more than that.
Not at all, not at all. And as you said, you know, we've got old football games to watch, and hopefully in about 11 days' time, we'll have some new football games to watch, which would be nice.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it all seems positive. I know there's a few teething problems, but it seems like they're coming through them, and hopefully it will be back up and running as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting, whatever happens. It'll be interesting. And I think also, you know, we haven't had, I think it's 100 days since the Premier League was stopped or something like that. So I think everyone just wants to get something to moan about. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, West Ham fans, we love a moan, and we can't moan about anything yet.
No, that's it. It's all good until the first ball's kicked in it, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. And
good.
It's all going to be a bit different. You know, I've had the Premier League directives, you know, in terms of what's going to happen and what you're going to do and what you got to play. It's going to be a little bit different.
Oh, sorry for the players. Are going to be confused before they even start, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's why they've got me involved. So they know I can play unfair play bubbles, and they know that they're at the London Stadium. Oh, we're playing at home. That's it. Yeah. Okay. All
right. Have you heard? Somebody told me that when the ball goes out of play, they're going to wipe it down before it goes back in play.
I don't know. I didn't see that on the. I mean, I didn't get the playing directives. I've got like what's happening to the pitch and the surrounding. I would imagine so. There's no ball boys, and they're not having ball boys. So
no. Yeah.
Which could be interesting. It could be interesting in London Stadium. You know, a wayward clearance, and it goes. I'll have to go and get it probably from the top tier.
Yeah, I ain't get it. No kid will be like that. I'm not going it. I've got to go in the stand and get the ball. Yeah.
It's like when you're a kid, weren't it? When you were in
yeah.
I kicked it last. You get it. Yeah, but it's
yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah. I mean, you don't know. I mean, with extra subs, you know, I mean, they're restricting, obviously, I think it's 300 people they can have at the game, including all the staff and the players. So it is what it is. And yeah, but we'll try and make it as inclusive as possible as you can be. I've been speaking to fans, like doing this all these things, and some of them are having their own Zoom parties where they're watching the game, but with all their mates, they sit around, you know, in the stand with, and just like, so they can live time moan and halftime analysis. It's brilliant. I tell you what, it's the resolve of the British people and the West Ham fans particularly. I think they're going to make it work. So, and that's how this channel started. And that's how it started out of just that sort of coronavirus board, looking back at old videos, looking back at the season reviews. And I thought, yeah. And it started as like a little idea, and it just grew because like the West Ham family and fans and players. So, you know, players giving your number and name. And it's just mental.
Yeah. No, sometimes you don't get a chance to stop, especially with football. And I've worked in it since I finished, really. You don't get a chance to stop and look back. Do you know what I mean? As a player, you go on to the next season, and then end of the season, you sort of have a couple of weeks holiday, and then you're thinking, oh, right, I better keep myself fit. And before you know it, it's round again, and you're playing, and you don't get a chance to actually look back on your career as such, or the last so many years, or games. And I know I've got videos somewhere of games that I played in, but I don't think I've ever watched any of them. You know, I've never watched them. I've still got them, but I haven't watched them. So. Yeah. Damn how bad it was.
Well, I mean, you know, 296 games, that's quite a few hours, even with Netflix, you know, that's That's a long time to get through
No,
to complete it.
no. Yeah, even in lockdown, I wouldn't go.
Even in lockdown, when it comes to like, I don't know, Oxford United in 92, 93, it's like it's getting a few years on, isn't it? You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, you joined in, obviously 8 years. You came from Luton. Bonzo obviously got you in for 600 grand, I think it was at the time. The first question I ask all West Ham ex-players is why West Ham? Why join West Ham, Tim?
Yeah, good question. I mean, at the time I was at Luton and I was in the old First Division, and West Ham were in the division below. And as it happened, I'd met Lou Macari in the summer previous to that, and nothing came of it. And then Luton was struggling financially, so I was aware that I was one of the ones that they could sell. And West Ham came in, they sort of, the club, although I didn't have an agent, it was the club sort of said to me, or somebody at the club said, listen, we don't want you to go, we don't want you to sign as well, because we think there's others coming in for you, so hold off. And it was almost like, am I being used a bit here to go and have a meeting? And then, but when I met Bill, he was fantastic. Eddie Bailey was there, he was the chief scout. I think Tom Finn, and for me it was, when can I sign? When can I come and join you? I mean, things were going well. As West Ham at the top of the league, I knew Luton were going to be struggling financially if they were getting rid of all the players as well. So it was a no-brainer, but I was almost told to not say that, go home and tell them I'm thinking about it. And Bill actually rang me and said, what's happening? And it was quite a hard conversation to say. I couldn't say that I've been told not to sign yet, but I didn't want to sound like I wasn't interested. So anyway, it all came to fruition, and I was pleased. And it straight away, it felt, although it's a much bigger club than Luton, it felt similar in terms of a family club and very friendly club, and the supporters and the way they wanted to play football, and which I enjoyed. And so it was a great fit, and I really enjoyed it. The team was going well, and we sort of had a settled side as soon as I sort of got going, and it was a great season. I really enjoyed the first season, and it made it easier. Like I said, I was going into a winning team, so that made it a lot easier.
Yeah, totally. And obviously, you suffered. You had a bit of a few promotions. We don't talk about relegation. Promotions, that was. Don't talk about that. Yeah, you have to get relegated to be promoted. We know that, but it doesn't matter. It's the West Ham way. We don't look at that. We look at the positives all the time. So obviously some promotions. Obviously that great. I mean, I always remember that 92-93 season as being an amazing season. That Cambridge United, and that was sort of my sort of. I don't know. You have certain periods, and you're like, and that was like amazing because it just got into West Ham, and I was a bit of a glory hunter, obviously, because we were, we're riding high in the second division when I started. But it was amazing, and obviously, from then on, it's a 200, almost 300 games to the club. For you, what sort of? There's obviously so many highlights, and there's probably so obviously lowlights, but the highlights we're talking about, obviously promotions. Were there any sort of games or moments or goals you scored which stick in your head?
Yeah, goals didn't happen very often. Sometimes I did score one, or two. But there's that one that comes to mind, the Everton game, because we won the game 1-0, and it was always a reminder, the first goal in the year, that sort of thing. And my wife's family are Everton supporters, so I've got a picture of it somewhere celebrating them. But things like that you remember. You remember the people as well, like the players that you played with, the staff at the club. The feeling around the place, especially when obviously like things are going well and you are getting promoted and you're on a roll, and you sort of just turn up and play, and you enjoy your playing more. Having said that, sometimes there's pressure even when you're at the top. At a club like West Ham, if you're in the top of that division, you've got to get promoted. So there is pressure with that. But I've had relegation battles. When I was at Luton, I had some at West Ham. I went on to QPR and had it there. And when you need to win that last game of the season to stay up, that is pressure. That is the worst pressure you can have as a player, and it's hard to play properly with that. But yeah, I remember the FA Cup games, like the quarter-final game. And when I first come to West Ham, like the lads always said to me, you know, wait till a night game under the lights. It's be a special atmosphere, and it was, you know, and even that quarter final of the cup, and it was absolutely electric. And I still remember that as like an amazing atmosphere, you know, and the roof lifting off the place when we scored, and the whole thing. It was, you know, them sort of things, the noise, and they're things that stay with you, you know. Because you don't get that very often. You know, you support it now. You go. I mean, I've been a scout for years as well, so I've gone to a lot of football matches and
of course.
Being a coach and everything. But when you're a player and that happens in the stadium and at home in front of your own fans, and you go on to win the game, and you know, they're special days.
Yeah. And also, you know, particularly Upton Park, obviously it's quite, and people always said it was a tight ground, and it was a tight ground. And as a fullback, you're so close to those fans, particularly down that chicken run, chicken run when you're, it must, you know, as a, I mean, it's a question I've ever asked before, but as like a fullback, you know, because obviously the goalkeepers, they tend to know the player, like the fans behind them, because it's easy when they clap them. Was that the same with like you as a fullback? You know, the guys on the sort of the right of the chicken run or whatever, would you sort of, all right, how you doing, Bob? You know?
Yeah. You were very close to them, and you know, you knew they were there. Obviously, if it weren't going well, you knew they were there as well. But luckily for me, I didn't really have many bad times at the club, and you know, they always seemed to be behind you. And to be honest, even when the team was struggling, and they seemed to recognise that, sometimes you got more stick when you was, I don't know, at the top of, say, the old. You know, the old second division, and you were 0-0 at home against a lowly team. You got more stick then, you know. But yeah, I had a good sort of relationship with the fans. I think you know, they sort of realised I was giving it my best shot, and that's all you can do in it. And you know, that was something I always tried to do whenever I played. Was, you know, I might not have been the best or most technical or what I could run, and show that I was enthusiastic, and that's all I sort of try to do. And I think they appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it's West Ham fans, you know, not saying you, but they all love a trier, don't they? So it's like, if you like, I was remember like Ian Dowie and stuff like that, who'd run after the ball in the court. He's not going to get it. We know he's not going to get it, but he still did it, and everyone like, and that's what West Ham fans. We're realistic, you know. We know we're not going to, particularly in the Premier League. Championship is a bit different because there was assumption that we should be going up and stuff, but in the Premier League, we're not going to win the Premier League. You know, we know that's not going to happen, and so we just want to be entertained and have people who put the shirt on and feel like they're actually going for it, innit? And I think that and you epitomise that, Tim, to be honest. And as I said, you know, we've had how many players have come through West Ham, you know, in people's lifetime, and you know, as I said, 15-20% of them have picked you in their squad. So in it, so it's good. So you know, it's one of those things. And to be honest, myself, you know, I've got a confession. You know, I've been watching those end of season reviews on YouTube again, going through Elgo, and I didn't realise how much stuff you did, mate. I'll be honest. I'll be perfectly honest. I think because I was younger then, and younger, no disrespect, and it's not the fullbacks. It's Bish and it's Trevor Morley. But I think I was like, you bomb forward on that right side, and you know, cut inside quite a bit, you know. It was, and I had this sort of newfound respect for you, so to speak, you know, and it was absolutely brilliant watching back, as you said, looking back, because it's football's so quick all the time now, and everything changes. You just don't have time to do it, and it's more so. Anyway, we're talking about the players. Talking about the players you played with. As I said, what we try and do is, with most all our guests, is do an 11. Now, where you pick the 11 players that for you played with, you know, your goalkeepers and things like that. So it'd be great to sort of get your handle on that. And obviously, you've played with some load of players across 300 odd games, 290. But it'd be good to get your handle on some things, and obviously, and because I'm sure there's lots of stories and characters from that whole era. That was the last era, I think, you know, where football characters were around. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like you don't even get Paolos anymore. You don't get Monkses. You don't get Martin Allens. You don't get those fun players. It's too professional. It's a bit sad.
Yeah, it's one thing about in those days. Yeah, it wasn't okay. There was money was important, but it's so big now. It must be hard for the players to even relax and do anything. And okay, financially, fantastic for them, but I wouldn't have swapped my era, to be honest, in terms of the characters and the fun and the times. And okay, you were professional and you tried to do everything you could, but you actually, you did enjoy being around the lads, and you weren't sitting on your laptops or your on the coach who was playing cards, and there was banter, and it was non-stop really. And from the day you went in, and the training was almost separate to it, and the games, and the times you had away on trips and things. Yeah, that's the things that people said to me, "Oh, you played in that game against such." I was there. I was like, "Oh, what was the score? I can't really remember." But you tell me about a Christmas party or a night out or an end of season, I can remember all those.
Yeah. No, they've come through, and particularly Bish and Mad Dog. Yeah, they've come through with a few stories. For example, Martin told me Bish's love of an extra strong mint and a polo. He always had a pack of polos in his pocket, so the old manager didn't smell booze on him. Fair play, It's just a different era. So for you, Tim, in goal, I could probably guess who your goalie's going to be. To be honest, it would be in goal for you.
Yeah, it would have to be Ludo, of course. Fantastic player, fantastic guy. One of those, you think in any era he would stand out as an unbelievable goalkeeper in terms of being able to do everything as a big guy, athleticism, get down low, shot stopping. Probably his kicking later on in his career, it wasn't something that goalkeepers now, they practice it from a young age, but I'm sure if he was in that era and he was brought up with that, he'd have been brilliant at that as well, because he's that type of guy who take his hands to anything. But yeah, he was fantastic for me, and just the sheer size of him and the dominance of him. But then, like I say, down low, he'd always make a save. Just fantastic, organise you, talk to you in his own way, and but good, absolutely top class goalkeeper and a top class guy as well. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, later on, Shaka, a few games, and Craig, people like that. Obviously, fantastic goalkeepers. But from day one, when I went into the football club, Ludo was the main man, and it's like I didn't really know much about him. It was like, wow, what a player this is! How have we got him? How have we got him in this division, and an international, and fair play, fantastic player. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. As you said, I mean, I think West Ham have been blessed with goalkeepers. To be honest, it's not an area we've always had issue with, to be fair, and maybe for a few months last season, but then he put David in, and it seemed to be all right then. But it's with goalkeeper we don't always have an issue with. We've always seen Davy James, Greeno, obviously Shaka, Fabianski, even before Ludo. Obviously, a Parksy, Mervyn Day and stuff. Yeah. So, no, we've done all right with them. Okay, let's go left back. Who will be your left back? I could probably guess this one as well, but who will be your left back?
Yeah, it would have to be Dixie, different class. What a player again. Another one where I knew a bit about him from playing against him, being down that side, and knew that there was, the type of character he was. But I got to be honest, didn't realise how technically good he was. As well as obviously being a tough tackler and the sort of player you'd want on your side, but technically very good as well. So he would have to be my left back, definitely. Great penalty taker as well. Great lad. I couldn't fault him. I wish I was like him in a lot of ways when I first come to the club, and I'd been used to a regime of lots of stretching and warm-ups and everything, and it wasn't like that there. And he was one who just come out and start belting balls around before training, like he's in the park, just having a kick around, and I'd have to stretch for half an hour or so before the warm-up began, So I sort of envied that side of him, definitely. But no, he's a fantastic player. Only other David Burrows, came in for a little bit when Julian went the other way, but then we got him back again, and and to think as well, a lot of the time that he he wasn't 100% fit with his knee, and he battled through with that. And I remember him spending a lot of time rehabbing and working. Fair play to them. What a good player. Chris Hughton as well came in. I'm just thinking of when Julian wasn't about. Chris Hughton, fantastic professional. Helped us a lot around the dressing room and as a player too. But yeah, another good player and great character, obviously. But yeah, Dixie would have to be my left back. Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty nailed on. I'll be honest with that. Yeah. Now, are you gonna play yourself at right back?
I suppose I'll have to. Really, I should do.
I mean, Tony Gale did. Tony Gale put himself centre back, penalty taker, free kick taker, captain, and first team manager and coach. So yeah,
that surprised me with Gailey. Yeah,
We'll put you in. We'll put you in at right back.
We put me in. All right. Okay. I mean, Kenny was there with me.
Of course, Kenny. Yeah.
Kenny, great player, great lad, and got on well. Despite obviously we were both going for the same shirt. Same with Potsy, really. When I first came into the club, he was the right back. I didn't, I think the first game I didn't get straight in, and then I was gradually put in, and he was moved to centre half. And I've never ever spoke to him about it, but you think maybe that helped him in some ways because he'd become an unbelievable centre half.
True.
And we were good mates as well. There was never any sort of animosity at all with him. We roomed together, we were mates, and I've seen him a few times on the circuit when I've been doing my scouting and stuff, and it looks exactly the same bloke.
Yeah. A lot of people do, Tim. There's a couple who don't, but yeah,
not me.
Tim, no, you still look very serious. Still look like, as what did Martin call you? The machine and the robot. That's what he called you. The machine. That's like, what? The robot? The machine. Okay, I got the machine.
Yeah.
That ain't a bad nickname, to be honest, based on other nicknames that some people have. The machine.
Yeah.
Who's gonna go centre backs for you then, Tim? In your
team? Again, when I came in, Gailey and Alvin were sort of seasoned pros, if you like. They've been there a while, and great pros, great characters, both of them in different ways. Good partnership, both of them very, very comfortable on the ball. Both good in the air, good players. Potsy went there, and I think he complemented both of them in other ways in terms of reading the game and pace. And but there's then Slaven Bilic coming in for a bit, Mark Reaper, Piercy. Do you know what I mean? All very, very good players, very good in their own ways. But I'd have to go for Potsy, definitely, because I've probably played more games with him.
Yeah.
And then as a partnership, maybe with Alvin or Tony, I'll probably have to go for Alvin.
Yeah.
Because I probably needed Alvin next to me in terms of leadership and grabbing me by the scruff of the neck and not letting me get forward as much as I wanted to, and sometimes I needed somebody like that. So yeah, I'd have to go with Alvin for that, because I didn't argue with him when he said no, you stand here next to me then. So all right, I better do as I'm told here. So yeah, Alvin, I'll go for Alvin. Alvin and Potsy,
no, it's great.
Rio came in as well for a little bit, didn't he?
I mean, you've had a whole heap of amazing centre backs. You played with. And obviously Rio came in
just at the start of his career, and you could see then what a player was going to be, and fair play to him, went on and had an amazing career. But how could you forget Rio?
No, exactly. How could we forget Rio? But I mean, and obviously, Potsy's still around, obviously under 23s coach, the club, and and Alvin's Alvin, isn't he? Alvin's still Alvin. There's not many sort of, and I think it's actually, someone was saying it the other day. Actually, there's a lot of. Alvin wasn't from around these parts, so to speak, and he just got West Ham, he's almost like a adopted Cotton. He still lives around the area. Same with someone like Waldy. It seems that sort of that Liverpool area, there must be some I don't know whether it's all down to the Dockers and the the Ironworks people, but it does seem like there's this sort of a lot of our sort of Liverpool-based players who come down end up sort of staying, so to speak, and it's lovely to see. Right, okay, we'll put Alvin and Potsy. Let's go midfield then, Tim. Let's go left wing or left midfield. Sorry, I keep getting told off. Left midfield.
Straight away to mind comes Stuart Slater, Chopper. Because when I came into the club, he was phenomenal that season in terms of being able to beat people with the ball, come inside and score. Always energetic, always wanted the ball. Fullback's nightmare. I'm glad I wasn't playing against him. Come short and get it and run at you, or running behind you, quick and a great player, good kid too. I know he always hankered to play up front, and maybe I never spoke to him about it, but maybe if he'd have stayed around a bit longer and nailed down that side of the pitch for himself, then he could have been there for a long time, I think. But you could understand he was young and he just felt that he could do it up front and wanted to go at that, and I think that was a little bit to do with why he moved on. But he comes to mind straight away as a great player. And like you say, you remember them times when things are going well and just when you're attacking, you're seeing him doing his thing. It's brilliant, brilliant counter-attacking as well. So very good player. I mean, from doing my recruitment stuff, it's hard to find left wingers, left footers, very hard. And I know Harry brought in Keith Rowland's a good player, and Matty Holmes on that side, and then Stan Lazaridis as well. Who I had a bit of a hand in bringing in, but that's another story.
Okay.
Because he tore me to shreds when we were in Australia one time.
Oh yeah. When you was over there,
So he owes me, still owes me on that. But I'd have to go for Stuart Slater, to be honest. Chopper.
And you're totally right about that sort of, it's the way the game's changed, isn't it? Really, you don't get that winger like he just beats people for pace like Laser used to, or whatever. Just knocking it, as you said, like knock it past the fullback and just cross it in. It seems such a simple game.
I know from playing there, people always get the question of who was your worst, who was your hardest opponent, and people like Ginola and John Barnes and Chris Waddle and fantastic players. And the thing about them was that they could do both. They could come inside on the right foot, and if you stop that, they went down the line and crossed it. So you're, what do I do? What do I do? If you got too tight to them, they were quick. If you stayed off them, they beat you with a pass. They were the best ones. And I think Stuart had a bit of that definitely about him. He could do a bit of everything.
Good shout. Okay, we'll put Stuart on the left. Who's going to go on right midfield, the other side then?
Again, thoughts go back to when I come in, and Kevin Keane, got used to playing with him, really liked playing with him, could just give him the ball in tight areas. He always wanted it in tight areas. Very rarely gave the ball away. Could see a pass and then you could move off that, and get your attacking play going. He seemed to always... He could find you with a one-touch pass as well. We seemed to have a little bit of telepathy, knowing where each other was a bit, and that was more him knowing where I was more than me knowing where he was. But he was such a clever player that you didn't always see what he did, and wasn't particularly physically strong. He could run all day. Wasn't particularly quick, but he could affect the game. And I think if you wanted him inside, he'd come in off the line. If you wanted him wide, he'd be wide. Do you know what I mean? We just got on straight away. I found like I could play with him, So Keane comes to mind. Mike Marsh was very similar to that as well. Very similar in terms of technical player who you could give the ball to in tight areas. Very aware of where people were in terms of forwards and runners off him, and would always want to, like Kev would always want to help out defensively, which always helps out fullback as well. And so those two come to mind definitely. Trying to think who else might have played out there for us, but I would say Keeney definitely for me. Because when I first started there and we got on well, and like I say, great kid, and I was disappointed when he left. Really, we were both at the same time. Our contracts were up, and he ended up going, and I'd stayed. But yeah, I was disappointed for him to go, to be honest.
Yeah, but again, you know, back in the fold, you know, under 18s coach now, and he's I think now he's approaching sort of 20 years service, obviously playing and coaching. So yeah, keynote, good shout. Okay, let's go midfield then, Tim. Who's your midfielders? Who's your two in the mid?
Yeah, again, hard to say. Like, fantastic players. Bish comes to mind. Johnny Monks, in terms of technical ability, and again, like I'm saying with Keeney, they'll have the ball in tight areas. Always want the ball. Never shy away from having it. Which gives you a little bit of time. If you can't get your head up, you can give it to them, and know you're not going to. You know, they're always going to help you out. You know, and those two maybe not together because you need different types, but they probably would say, yeah, don't worry, we can play together, no problem. You know, I'd say they would. But then you need, maybe for me, another type like a Stevie Lomas, a physical type, put the foot in, organise, play simple, have energy, good leadership, that sort of thing. Martin comes to mind as well. Martin Allen, Peter Butler, Georgie Paris was in there as well my first season. So him and Bish together was good. So a lot of ones that come to mind that I think, you know, very good players, all of them in their own ways. I mean, Frank Lampard come in for a bit. And then you're talking about sort of more like your forward-thinking ones like Frank and Hutch, Al Berkovic, people like that, like want to play in that number 10 one. Some very good players. But if I had to pick two as maybe a partnership, I think I'd go for Bish and Lomi.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So, sorry, Monkey, but he'd have to be on the bench for me. He'd be in the squad anyway, just for his entertainment value. He'd have to be there.
You'd keep him. Yeah, exactly. You'd keep him in the squad. You'd keep him in the squad, wouldn't you? What was it like? What was it like when they were all together? When they were all on it? You know, like with like John. You know, it must have been like non-stop when it was training.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. It was great. You know, never a dull day scenario. No. You know, there's always something. Talk about always something happening. Or you know, Monkey mad. He's just mad. He's one of the funniest blokes I've ever met in football, out of football. He just made me laugh, and I could think of stories, but I don't want to get him in trouble. But you probably heard him off camera or whatever. But yeah, he had it about him that he just could make people laugh. Yeah. Just fantastic. And Martin, bit, you know, the mad side of him. I remember Alvin being a character around the place, as well as Gailey, obviously George Paris, people like that. Some great characters. Trevor Morley, Jimmy Quinn, you know, loads of lads, Dixie, you know, they're all good characters.
Yeah. Bish tells a story of basically how he constantly wound up Alvin. Anything to do with sport, like pool or table tennis, he would he'd always wind him up, and he was like, he'd love winding him up. But it's so funny. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. It seems like there's a real, like throughout that period, that seemed to always be a togetherness with the squad. You know what I mean? I think maybe because you're all like good mates and you go for beer after or whatever, but there was that sort of togetherness, and then it was infectious.
Well, yeah, it's interesting, really. There's quite a lot of stability, even in terms of, you know, the club had obviously been relegated, but you still had two centre halves there who'd been there for quite a few years, you know. So there was that stability that was still there. Obviously, Bill was a manager who knew the club inside out, you know, as a player. You know, there was that, and lads who'd come through as well, George Paris and Potsy and, you know, Keeney. Do you know what I mean? There was lads who'd come through, so there was that, and then that kept going. And, you know, I think that sort of, you keep that atmosphere through the club. It's easier then. So when one goes in, this is what we do, sort of thing. And, you know, go with it. You know, I remember, I think I'd only been there a week or two, and there was this big party going on, and I think it was George was organising it and handing out all these invites to whoever, and was like, all right, turn up. So I went along and couldn't believe it. We'd taken over this nightclub or something, and it was just full. There was literally the players, the squad, and the rest of it was just women. I thought, what's going on here? This is like, I'd never seen nothing like it before. I thought, it was fun. It was really good fun, and they made me welcome straight away, and which was great, and obviously with Potsy being a fantastic character and everybody loved him, and it was almost like I'd come in to replace him, and but he couldn't have been better about it. He was fantastic with me, and like I say, he went on to become a legend of a centre half at the club. So I'm glad that it worked out.
Yeah, no, totally. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. And let's go up front then. I think it's again to be tricky. I think, Tim.
Yeah.
Who's going to be up front for the Breacker 11?
Yeah. Again, you go back to when you first joined. Trevor Morley, Nudger, as he got known. Jimmy Quinn. Others come in as well. I mean, Ian Dowie towards the end of that season. Clive Allen came in for a bit along the way, playing games. David Speedy, all different types, all had their own things that they were good at. Then later on, we had John Hartson and Paul Kitson. Like I said, Hutch a little bit playing behind them. Al Berkovic, very, very good players. Again, I think it's all partnerships is really important. Something like could John Hartson play with Trevor? Possibly. Tony COYI, of course, as well. Goal scorer. And Frank was there when I came in, Frank McAvenny, but I didn't really get to play with him. He had and you can see how there was a fantastic partnership. But I again, you go back to when you start, and from word go, I got on well with Trevor in terms of he was one of those, and I've had it with coaching as well, where you want him to make your mind up, so you get your head up and you're looking, and he just made my mind up all the time, whether it was short, long, or he was one of those. He'd sort of make a half decent ball into a good, or a crack ball into a half decent one. But he was one of those I enjoyed playing with. He always use his body, hold the ball up, get fouls, and as a fullback playing with somebody you wanted to be able to hit, he was good like that. John Hartson, very similar, obviously in the prime of his career as well at the time. Again, shame he didn't play around a bit longer. Paul Kitson, again, a partnership with the two of them. You could see how that worked well. One who was more mobile in the channels. Then you got your goal scorer types like say Tony COYI, fantastic finisher. Clive Allen, I remember Clive coming in and watching him, thinking he was towards the end of his career, but what a finisher. He was phenomenal. And some games you think, oh, thank God he's made something look easy, and you got somebody like that. Those strikers, they're worth the weight in gold for you on the goal side of it. But coming back to who would I pick, then I think for what I said earlier, I'd have to go with Trevor because of the way, memories of playing with him and not telepathy, but getting that feeling from him that you knew what he wanted. And unsung as well, didn't always get the goals, but did all the work, never stopped running, kept working, great bloke. To go with him. I didn't play enough with TC, but that would be a good partnership. Obviously, like a Frank type and a goal scorer type, John Hartson, like I say, was probably in his prime, so I might have to go with John. But could him and Trevor play together? I don't know.
Who cares? The centre backs wouldn't have a nice day, would they, if they both turned up?
No,
that's for sure.
No, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's for sure.
Think it'd be a bit harder from these days, but back then, you'd say, all right, we'll be all right with those two up front, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. Tim, that's awesome, man. It's really good. And obviously, it's been great chatting. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. It's been good fun. And obviously, thank you to everyone who's been watching, obviously, the video. Like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. And until next time, from me and Tim, take care, everybody, and stay safe. See ya. Bye-bye.